Hey, Joyful Wife. Today we are going to be covering a practical skill that changes pretty much everything. How to take those thoughts captive that we have. This is where you move from being more feeling attacked of whatever thoughts pop into your head to being an intentional steward of your mind and your thoughts. This is the skill that will transform your marriage and your life. So what does taking your thoughts captive actually mean? Well, 2 Corinthians 10:5 tells us to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Christ. But what does that really look like in real life? Taking thoughts captive is catching your thoughts before they run away with your emotions, examining thoughts to see if they're true and helpful, choosing thoughts that align with God and who God says you are and who you want to be, replacing harmful thoughts with thoughts that create connection and peace. What it's not ever pretending that you don't have negative thoughts. That's impossible. It's not pretending that problems don't exist. It's not faking forced positivity. And it's not suppressing or fighting your thoughts. Think of it being like a bouncer at the door of your mind. Not every thought that shows up gets to come in and stay and hang out. You get to check their ID and decide who gets access to your emotional experience. So here's a practical process that I've used time and time again. Step one is you notice that you're having a thought. You catch yourself thinking, and I know that sounds simple, but most of us go through life on thought autopilot. You have to become aware that you're having a thought before you can do anything about it. So signs that you're having an unhelpful thought. Maybe suddenly you have strong emotions like anger or hurt or resentment. Your body starts really tensing up. You want to attack or defend or even withdraw, or you're creating stories about what something might mean. So step two is you pause and examine it. You ask key questions like, is this thought actually true? How do I know it's true? Or is this my interpretation of something? Is the thought helpful for my marriage and my own peace? Does this thought help me to be connected to who I want to be? Would I teach this thought to my son or my daughter? Step three is going to be to choose a better thought. So this isn't about lying to yourself. It's about choosing thoughts that are both helpful and true. So some better thought options are focusing on the facts instead of the interpretation, assuming positive intent when possible. Think about what love would assume in this relationship and consider that there could be alternate explanations. Even thinking about your husband's heart and not just the actions that he took. So step four would be to practice the better thought intentionally. So your brain has grooves that form from old thought patterns. You need to create new grooves by practicing new thoughts. This takes time and repetition, but if you're patient with yourself, you will be able to build this new skill. So let's talk about some real life examples. Let's say you're talking about weekend plans with your husband, and your husband says, fine, do whatever you want about weekend plans. Step one is maybe you notice immediately you felt triggered. Your emotions spike, you feel hurt, you feel anger, you feel frustration. So now you're pausing to see, like, why am I feeling this way? And you notice that you're having this automatic thought that he doesn't care about spending time together, or he doesn't care about what I want, or that I have to plan everything. So then examine those thoughts or that thought and say, is this true? Because really, he said, fine, do whatever you want. And that's the fact of the conversation. Nothing else has to be interpreted. Is that thought helpful? Probably not. It creates distance and pain within your own body. Does thinking this way help me to be the wife that I want to be? For me, no, it makes me want to attack or withdraw. So then we're going to move to step three, and that's choosing a better thought. So some better thought options are maybe he's overwhelmed with all the decisions he has to make in life. There really is such thing as a decision fatigue. I feel it every time somebody asks me what's for dinner. So maybe he genuinely wants me to choose because he trusts my judgment. Maybe he's tired and just doesn't have the mental energy to make decisions. Again, that kind of goes with that decision fatigue. Or maybe it's that he enjoys what I plan. You can also think I can ask for clarification instead of assuming the worst about what that means. So step 4 is practicing that new thought over and over. You got to create that new groove in your brain. So instead of letting that grow hurt, you intentionally think thoughts like, he might just be tired. I'll ask him directly what he's thinking. The result is that you stay connected to not only just yourself and because you're being calm and loving, but also to him, which helps you to feel that curious and not being defensive. So here are some common obstacles that I hear quite often, but my feelings feel so true. Just remember that feelings are not facts. Just because a thought creates strong emotion, it does not make it true. The stronger the emotion, the more important it is to examine the thought creating it. Obstacle 2 is that I can't control what I think. The truth is, you can't control what thoughts pop up in your head, but you absolutely can control what thoughts you allow to take focus and what you choose to believe. It's like changing the channel. You choose what you want to watch. Another obstacle is this feels like I'm letting him off the hook. Look, I need you to reframe this. Taking thoughts captive isn't about excusing bad behavior. It's about responding from wisdom instead of reacting from emotion. You can address real issues much more effectively when you're emotionally regulated. Obstacle 4 that people have is, I'm not good at this yet. Well, I just want to give you some encouragement. This is a skill that takes lots of practice. You can continue going on for the next 50 years thinking the same thoughts that have you feeling the way you do, or you can start practicing this new skill today. You've been thinking automatic for so long, so you really have to give yourself some grace as you learn to think intentionally. When you consistently practice taking thoughts captive, you're going to start noticing things like in your marriage, you'll have fewer arguments about surface issues. You'll have more peaceful conversations during conflict. Your husband may feel safer to be himself around you. And I just mean emotionally. I'm not talking about physical abuse, just emotionally able to open up and really share his thoughts or maybe even be vulnerable to let you know what's going on with him. You'll have increased emotional and physical intimacy. And just within yourself, you're going to feel less anxiety and emotional overwhelm. You'll be feeling proud about how you handled difficult situations. You'll have more energy because you're not creating unnecessary drama and pain. You'll have a deeper sense of peace and confidence. And within your family environment, your children, if you have children, they'll see how to handle healthy conflict modeled by you. That's such a gift to give to your next generation. You'll have a more peaceful home environment. You'll be showing up as the mother and the wife that you want to be rather than being somebody that you don't even like being around. So this week, I want you to practice the 4 steps. Set a phone reminder for a couple times during the day, especially in the beginning, to check, what am I thinking right now? When you feel triggered, immediately ask, what thought am I having? Practice one new thought for at least 30 seconds when you catch an unhelpful one. Remember, again, you're building a new skill. Don't expect perfection. Celebrate awareness and small improvements. All right, joyful wife. So now you have the most important tool for transformation. It's the ability to take your thoughts captive. This isn't just about having a better marriage. It's about becoming a woman that God created you to be. Every time you choose a better thought, you're exercising the incredible power God gave you. You're stewarding your mind well, and that affects everything else in your life.